What's up, y'all? I'm recording this for a second time. First one, I don't know. The file got corrupted. So, here's the question and an idea. What if all of these athletes, these MK Ultra athletes, and these politicians and celebrities that are all part of secret societies, occult societies, if people want to use those words, what if they're all tulpas? If you don't know what a tulpa is, it's kind of like a egregor, but it's basically go watch my video that I made if you don't know already. For all the new people, go watch the video I made on sigils, servitors, egregors, and god forms. I made it a couple years ago. You should be able to put my name in and find that pretty easily. It's from like 2 years ago, December maybe. So here's why I say this, because and even to do with like current events, all of these weird things happening. The reason this came up to my mind a little bit is because people, well, for two reasons. One, because a lot of people always are like, "Hey, these athletes are they're all robots, or they're made in a laboratory, blah blah blah." And I think that could be possibly the case for some of them. But another reason this came up before I get into the why I think this or how it works. Um, watching this well, the two things, the Notre Dame fire, the big church on fire. Why they always got scaffolding around it? That's just one question I always wonder. Whenever there's a fire in the early, 1900s, late 1800s, there's always scaffolding around it. And you can never find any pictures of how it was built, because it wasn't built then. It's old ancient technology. That would seem to be. This is what gets you into all the mud flood things and the Tatarian Empire and the Tatars and all of this. But the other thing is, you know, that is part of this whole larger form of magic and the Nipsey Hussle thing. They're trying to turn him into what? Haile Selassie? I mean, basically, how do you? there's Here's the thing. People say, "Oh, they're part of these families, right?" But what if it's not the way you think it is? What if they're truly a tulpa, and a tulpa really is a? Because it said there's levels to this this world we live in, the magic of it, about creating things, creating something literally out of your mind, because we live in a meta realm. If you wanted to build something, cut a tree down and then form something out of it, like cut the tree and turn it into a sculpture, you could do that, or you could take some clay and you could, from something on the ground, just pick it up and mold it into something. And this is one of the ways that is used to create objects. What if they can bring these pieces of clay to life? Because this is the idea. You can just mold something out of it and inform it. But when you say bring it to life, when I say bring it to life, I mean bring it to animation. So let me rephrase that. Not to life the way that we think of life, that you're living and you have consciousness, but it's a piece of someone's consciousness, or a piece of a group of a group of people's consciousness. What if it's their mind that is projecting an object into reality, or they've made an object from the physical matter, material, mama, magic, ma is the root word here. What if they took that and that material and they created something out of it? Or what if they didn't even need the material, they just used their mind to do it, and they were so good at producing something that you see all of these MK Ultra athletes. A lot of people here's the little split though. You can watch this in the movies. You can watch it in a lot of movies. Avatar, what was it? Humans. What if it's humans that create robots to try to battle the shamans, the yogis, the gurus, the magicians? What if that's the thing? What if there's actually humans, like, you watch Harry Potter and the Muggles? I mean, what happened in Avatar? They make all of this technology to try to destroy the magical world, the real world, the mother, the material world. What if, that's what they're trying to do? But then magicians, using the power of the Ma and their mind. They're making object. And so these athletes and these other, these let's say these hip hop artists, whatever, they're getting shot. Well, they're trying to turn them into sigils. Well, not necessarily a sigil, but they're trying to turn them into a an egregor of a sorts. An egregor is basically a group think that they all believe in the same thing, so that's what they're noticing. So what if the projection is actually everybody's doing that because it's being put into their consciousness? Or literally, someone was they took an empty vessel. This is real magic. This is what they say happens. This is what they say. That you could create form out of nothing, or take form and imbue it with energy or spirit or animation. And I say that separately because I don't think there's a level of consciousness and awareness. Like, they might just be, when people talk about, hey, there's these NPCs, non-player characters. Well, what if they're actually just going through a set of calculations and that is based upon, like, okay, you got the humans that might be doing it through a computer system, then you have the other realm of the hoodoo, the voodoo, the occult, the witch clans, and all of this, and and they get together and create these things and that's the battle between technology and not technology and humans, because a lot of times we say humans are battling technology, but in one sense, technology frees humans because it gives us free time to do whatever we want. In another sense, we become reliant on it. Like, do we need it? We have to have the computer. We have to have. I need this. I need that. I need the car. I need the extra thing. And I got to buy this. And you become, it's this really interesting system that gets, stuck together. Where it's like, technology frees you from things, but then you rely on it. So it's a mutually destructive and mutually beneficial system. But what if it's not even humans? What if it's actually the magicians versus, and it's not even a versus game, it's just they're playing off of each other. It's a game that's being played off of technology or an artificial realm, a realm that is what I would say inorganic, the inorganic world, and then the organic world of producing out of what is already in the natural world, or even more so out of the mind, which is I think the level up. And so I find this really interesting thing and here's the reason this came to mind, is because I was reading a post on Instagram, and it was somebody that was a magician, somebody that was a hoodoo goddess. I don't know what her name was. And she had made all these posts about Nipsey Hussle, and then made a post that said, I have to take that down because there's too many fools on here assuming that this is some sort of conspiracy or some sort of like blah blah, and it just like and they were just like, this is ridiculous. Like, why can't you just accept that some crazy person murdered one of our beloved brethren? And that's what was said. And I was like, and this is coming from someone that is supposedly like a witch, like, that deals with the occult world every day, and doesn't think that the larger society, the larger occult societies, the even more hidden groups, that they have no hand in, like, what happened there. It's just one loony crazy thing. So that person's entire life is really based upon magic, mentalism, psychology, numerology, probably astrology, and producing out of the mind something, right? And doing all of these things, but can't for a second fathom that possibly that was either a tulpa, or if it was a human, that he was already he agreed on a ritualistic sacrifice of self to go to another realm, or it didn't really happen. Like, so whatever it was, but that was so far out of bounds that it's just, no, we'll accept that. The accept what was on the news, accept that ridiculous story. Yet in all day, every day, these people on this page are supposed to be playing with high levels of magic. But they couldn't even imagine that might have something to do with another level of psychological, at least psychological magic. And on a higher level, like more like more entrainment of the masses that even at higher level, like it's not only did he maybe he's just a figment, he's just a pawn in a sense of somebody else's imagination. That seems so far out of bounds. I mean, to the average everyday person, I could see how that might seem a little ridiculous, but to people that claim heritage in hoodoo culture, and hoodoo is a prime place of, you know, finding tulpa, and finding what these things are, and getting other types of magic, and not to understand that an egregor is literally a thought form from a group think that produces these things. I mean, we live in the imaginary realm. We live in a magical world. This is, you know, to think that. I mean, think about how many times in your life you've just gone, "Whoa, that you had to be there to believe it. It was so unbelievable. It was like, it was defying the suggestions. I don't like to call them the laws of the suggestions of reality. It just completely did something that doesn't make sense. That it just like I'm not talking about just like, oh, something out of the corner of your eye. I'm talking about like watching like a 6-year-old flip a car over because their mother or their father was underneath it or something. You know, these things happen, apparently, which is outside of the realm of physics. They've defied the laws of physics because there are no laws to physics, because physics, it's called metaphysics, because it's all on the mind. And if the child doesn't even consider that car is too heavy to pick up and it gets pushed over because there is no spoon. There is no car. Daddy's hurt under the car. So I'm not saying you've ever seen something that serious and that crazy, but there are times you see some things. So to take a step back into this idea, um, maybe I'll do just two parts. I don't know, but I like, I always like to have a flow going, so I'm gonna keep going with this for just a minute or two more. Um, why are there so many books? Why is there so much talk of magic and imagination and um, witches and all of these different types of creatures that seem to not really, why were there witch burnings in Salem if it didn't exist? Why is why is Christianity, why do they wear silly hats? Why all of these religions? You don't think they're using altars? Use altar. So they fully know about magic, black magic, white magic. They fully know about the occult systems. They fully know about the power of suggestion, the power of the mind, and even deeper levels of incantation. Because the first way to produce something is if you get a group of people together, sounds create basically a vortex. If you were to get, I don't know, 3 people, 12 people, whatever, and you hit the same note, you could be going through chanting a spell or something. You could create something, a vortex of energy, quite literally. It's cymatics. You can do this without even, you could just hook up speakers like that, and you could levitate things. It's already been done. Like, you can see this. So if you went from like not only levitation but to other, creation of something. I mean, you can form things. The ancient alphabets were said to be produced out of fire, making a tone, and that tone into the fire would create a shape, and that became the ancient fire languages. And then you have water languages, and they're also written on a page from fire languages up this way. They grow up, and that's how they're written. Water languages, just like water, down a page. So to think that it's outside of the realm of possibilities, and I'm not just saying him, I'm saying a lot of them. What if the basketball leagues, what if the professional sports leagues, what if half of them were really like robots out of a lab or some sort of system, and the others were tulpas created by magicians, and they're just playing a game. Will the tulpas beat the it's like the Decepticons. It's the Transformers that are all metallic, but they were metallic consciousness, and then got some crazy things going on there. But what if in this realm it's really like We already have robots walking around, and we already have magicians tulpas walking around, which is projected out of people's consciousnesses while they're taking a nap or meditating, sleeping in a cave. Who knows? So that's my my little question that I pose, and my suggestion that maybe that's what's going on here, because there's too much. And here's what I'll do. I'll do a second part, and I will suggest if you look at some of my way earlier writings at zenalchemist.wordpress, you'll find some stuff on earlier levels of magic and things like that, and even probably some things to do with egregors and servitors and tulpas and word magic and stuff. You have to go back into like 2013, 2012. And the video that I made a couple years ago, there's probably like a collection of 4 or 5 of them that have to do with how to create sigil servitors, what egregors are. I don't get into tulpas too much because I think there's something they can run amok. They can form their own set of ideas and run amok, which happens sometimes, I suppose, especially if you don't feed them and properly care for what a tulpa would be. So there's a little fat for you guys to chew on. Hope you enjoyed, and I will do a part 2 if you all want me to. Just put it below, and I'll go deeper into all of this. And hope you're all having a beautiful day. And sorry that I'm unable to do live streams for a little while. But I think it works out because I was getting tired of doing 3-hour live streams with y'all. Now, if you guys want to talk to me, you find my email under most of my videos, and holler at me that way. I'll do one-on-ones. Obviously, that will be all, donation-based, whatever. And we will talk soon. Stay well, do cool things, inspire the world. And if you cannot do that, at least eat some ice cream or pet a puppy or do something cool.